Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farms, and today I want to plow up some ground for a fall garden. The only problem is I don't own a plow, but I found one on Marketplace really cheap. We're going to go see if it works out. We can get it picked up and put it in the ground today. Should be fun. So the first question is, can my tractor even pull this 2-bottom plow? I watched a bunch of other videos on this, and for instance, Everything Attachments had a video where they were using a 50 horsepower tractor that was a lot bigger than this, and he said that he thought that was about the smallest tractor you should use a double bottom plow on. Now these are hydrostat. I know that a lot of times with the older tractors, they pulled them with lower horsepower. Those lower horsepower tractors were putting 100% of the drive power to the ground, and they also may have been lower geared. So I was concerned maybe I couldn't pull this, but then I saw Brad on Piney Grove Homestead, who has a 39 horsepower tractor, and it's a Kubota L3901, I believe, and he was able to pull a 2-bottom with his. Now mine's a 38 horsepower. The difference is not just his is Kubota and mine's John Deere. My tractor is physically smaller than his. The tires are a lot smaller, but I do have my tractor weighted down, so I think it's got a good chance to pull it. But let's get it hooked up and find out. I definitely think this is probably about the smallest tractor you can put this on. Not in terms of horsepower, you might be able to get away with less horsepower, but in terms of overall frame size, because my 3-point would barely go high enough to pick it up off the ground. So if your 3-point was any lower, your ground clearance was any lower, you wouldn't be able to carry it. Now, the first row is the toughest to do, because you're trying to get the plow basically leveled out to dig the right depth. The height of the mold board tells you how deep you can go, basically, but I don't need to try to dig as deep as it can possibly go. One way I was told you can level these is to pull your tractor up onto some 6-inch tall blocks or beams, and then drop the plow down till it touches the ground, and that will represent your digging depth. And then you can actually see if you're level or not. As it is, we're kind of eyeballing what level will be. Also, on the first row, your plow is going to be at a little bit more of an angle. The second row, your tires are going to be in your previous furrow, and that will level the plow out. I paid $150 for this plow, and it's a little beat up. Let's take a look at it, and you can tell me if you think I got a good deal. Okay, one thing to look at with a plow is the point. That point's not completely gone, but it's obviously not perfect either. We've got some weld here that doesn't look factory. We've got some brand new weld here where this whole back is broken off. So this thing's been welded a few times. It's kind of cobbled together, but I'm not doing 20 acres with it. I'm just making a little plot here. I think it'll do the job. So I started the video off saying I didn't know if my tractor could pull this, but I was really pretty sure it could. I'm actually surprised. And I'm doing all the things you're going to suggest. It was at full throttle. It was in four-wheel drive. I had my foot holding down the diff lock, trying to give it every bit of traction I could. And while I'm at full throttle on my hydrostep pedal, I'm just easing into it. And I tried pushing down harder on the hydrostat, but in theory, easing into the hydrostat should be the best bet. And it's just not doing it. Now we're rolling over a part of ground that is 8 inches deep. It's a pretty deep furrow we're making. It'll pull if I raise the 3-point just a little bit, but that's, you know, we want it to get a good depth. So the only things I can think of is short or extend my top link so that it's not digging so aggressively. And if if it had sharper points on the plow teeth, that would definitely, a sharp knife cuts better than a dull one. So I'm going to try leveling that out and see what we get. So it's kind of hard to tell this from the angle you're seeing, but the tractor bogs down every time the plow pulls as deep as I think it should pull. And then when you see it start to take off and pick up speed again, that means that I raised the 3-point hitch and took pressure off of the plow. Basically, it can pull if I don't go very deep. Also, this video is playing at 2 times speed just to keep things moving along. So honest to goodness, I turned the camera on today thinking this would be an opportunity to show how stout my little tractor is. Now if this was the only attachment I had and I needed to get this turned over and I didn't have a tiller or anything else to use, I could make it work with this. But it's not working the way it's supposed to. Probably the first thing I would try to do is see if I could sharpen the points on that plow up. But for right now, I'm just going to call it a fail. And there's no way to get around it. It would not do it. Now, you could make comments about my technique, and I want to hear those, but I don't think it matters. I didn't have a chance to try to do it any certain way. Every time I got in deep enough to even see how it was pulling, it quit pulling. And I need a little bit bigger tractor, I think, is all there is to it. So now I've got a couple options. Number one, I'm going to read all of your comments and see what you have to say about how this was working. Number two, there's another really cheap single bottom plow that I could go pick up and finish the job with it. Or I could just till it. I've got the tiller, but I think this would be better. So I'm going to take some time to think about it and see what you guys have to say. I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. Put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.